Hello, everyone. I found out what was at stake. Not being honest about ties with boards. All of that information is now public, and we're going to vote. It's making me feel more stressed than I thought it would. The price goal for everything we do is 5 years from now. What needs to happen is a base for cars that drive themselves. Robo-taxis, Elon Musk's self-driving taxi service, are a rough model right now. Auto has a gross margin of about 16%. But tsla has a gross profit margin of about 80%. This is the largest AI project in the world for self-driving cars, and I think it will become popular very quickly. Of course, FSD has been on the rise for the past 10 years, and now we're seeing numbers on how safe full self-driving is. One example is that the normal US car goes about 200,000 miles without getting into an accident. A Tesla that doesn't have SAD can go about 50,000 miles. It takes about 600 million rubles to fully self-driving, not just autopilot. This is not the newest form, it's an old one. 3.2 million miles ago, a lot of people compared what's happening now to the early days of the railroads or electricity. During those times, hundreds of companies grew, but most of them went out of business. This is why we're getting so much clarity. There are very few players with the resources, and I would say, the strategic vision to really move this huge opportunity forward. You named the four companies, which is interesting because Elon himself named those as the four companies. Another interesting thing about railroads is that they were built geography by geography. This is happening all over the world at once and so quickly that I think it's very clear that their revenues are tripling from one year to the next. If they stick to their forecast or guidance, which is reportedly about $11 billion next year and $26 billion or so the following year, this company will quickly become profitable. With Tesla's impressive growth, Tesla bulls and people looking for the next stock market gem shouldn't just sit back and watch. This page tells you everything you need to know about Tesla. How much should Tesla stock be? Our channel might get a small payment if you click on one of the ad links in the description and then buy something. People who have big plans and know how to run a business, I saw that part of your question, might be about the change in management. It's not a surprise that companies that go from being small to big need different types of managers. This means that they are picky about who they hire and who they keep on staff. As for how to promote new technologies so that the US doesn't fall behind, which has happened a lot lately, especially when it comes to going to Mars and other planets in space. I think he'll have a big impact on this as well. I'm thrilled about Elon's part. He's a big deal. A white piece of paper. Let's start over. What do you think is the best way to think about how the government should work? Like he did in the car industry, which is now changing into the driverless industry, which is pretty cool. This gives us a lot of peace of mind, believe it or not, because we've done our homework. I don't think a lot of analysts have done the kind of research on autonomous mobility that we have. We have a longer investment time horizon. That's why we've done the research. As we get to Robo-Taxi Day 10/10 this week, next week, I think more and more people, analysts, are going to have to start modeling what this means. And I think as they do, they will conclude that this is a software as a service model with 80% gross margins, plus on that side of the model as opposed to 15 to 30% margins on the EV side. And they're going to have to adjust their expectations up. I think that the reason analysts are probably going to take what Elon is saying more seriously this time, because remember, he's been predicting autonomous in the next 2 years for the last 5 years for Tesla. It's also how quickly will they roll out, how quickly will they go national or even global with their aspirations. I think, as you know, Elon thinks in a very big way, and he has positioned Tesla to win the lion's share of this market. Can play with the variables too if you disagree with how optimistic we are to see how big this market is going to be. It's enormous from a revenue point of view. The platform opportunity, those hosting these networks, and Tesla will be one of those, that's a $4 to $5 trillion revenue opportunity in the next 5 to 10 years. If our research is correct, and again, it's winner take most, this is a $1 trillion plus revenue opportunity for Tesla in the next 5 years. It's a big idea. Tesla is our largest position in the flagship strategy. We cannot buy a stock once it goes over 10% of the portfolio. And typically we let it run out to some percentage of the portfolio, at which time we start cutting it back, because if it sells off, and it is a very volatile stock, We like to have the L to buy it up. We have a Tesla. You can see we publish our holdings at the end of every day. Run to 15% of the portfolio. It has increased appreciated 50% more than the rest of our portfolio. And so we have been just cutting it very slightly. Thinking that 15% from a risk control point of view is as of a good sized exposure. As you know, we publish our model and give away our research. And you can see from our Tesla model what our price target is. It's a 2600 within 5 years. And we do think the probability of reaching that top of price target now has been increased dramatically because once again regulation is probably going to be less of a showstopper in the new administration than it would have been in this one. Tesla's cars are about to become the autonomous cars are about to become safer than human-driven cars, and so I think we're going to see autonomous mobility broadly through the United States robotaxis much sooner than what happened with Cybercab Day a few weeks ago. Tesla's recent earnings report forced analysts to think about what autonomous will mean for this business model. An autonomous taxi network is an SaaS model. Well, it takes analysts a while to figure this out. I know that what happened at Cybercab Day was more of a product announcement, but what was more detailed for financial analysts in the earnings report is that once they start doing these models, they realize that this isn't just a car manufacturer with EV margins of 20 to 30%. It's a lot different. It's interesting that WIO has independent proof of concept. Autonomous is not going to happen tomorrow. It's happening right now. We can't wait to see how Tesla does in the market. Who else is excited about Tesla? That's Seeking Alpha, our sponsor for today. To find a prot to get the most up-to-date price targets for Tesla stock, click on the link from the text below. Everything new Elon Musk. There have been a few events in the past month that have made us trust Tesla even more. We were already very confident in Tesla because it is the second most valuable stock in the main fund. But when we saw that GM and Ford were pulling out of EVs until they could make money, we knew that Tesla could get a lot of new shares. It's strange that GM and Ford won't be able to make money with electric cars until they go mass production. Also, GM has pretty much shut down Cruise for safety reasons and legal reasons. We do think that Tesla has a good chance of being the leader in self-driving cars in the US. Also, now that Cruise has pulled out, we feel better about that area. We want Tesla to make more units because each one can now be turned into a robo-taxi. We think it's a good idea to get as many units as possible because they have so much choice value. Fleet, the robo-taxi service, will have a margin that's more like an SaaS business. We set a price goal for our stock for 2027. Which is just now. This is because we invested for 5 years.